Hello, hello, hello. I know I sound a little different today, so you guys gonna have to bear with me. I am going to go as long as I can, and hopefully, I am able to get through the whole thing without my voice giving out. So, without further ado, today we are talking about caregiver burnout, signs, symptoms, and how you can prevent it. Because caring for someone is something that you either volunteered to do or you were voluntold to do. Either way, it can present some challenges. And this taking on this role can affect you mentally, emotionally, physically. It can just put a lot on you and it can affect you in some ways that you didn't even recognize. And that can then lead to burnout. So, to prevent from getting there, we are going to talk about what it looks like, how it starts to happen, but what you can do to prevent burnout so that you can be that person that you want to be and be the caregiver that you want to be. If you are new here, welcome and thank you for joining. I am Dr. Ashley Booth. I'm a board certified family medicine physician, and I provide practical health tips and tools that you can use in your everyday life. Because what I understand is that your life definitely affects your health. Now, if you haven't already done so, do what we always say because it's absolutely free. You want to go ahead and subscribe, share, follow, turn on the notification bell, all those good things because you want to make sure that you don't miss any content. But sharing is caring. And so we want other people to have this information because a caregiver is everybody at some point in life. It is one of those things that will just show up because a lot of people are caregivers, whether you realize it or not. If you have children, you are a caregiver. If you have loved ones that you take care of, you are a caregiver or that you look out for. Anytime you take care of anyone, or anything. I know we have a lot of pet moms and dads. You are a caregiver. So when you do this, like I said, it can show up. You either volunteer to do it or you're voluntold. So when you volunteer to do it, you usually are prepared and you have a mindset for it, you are ready for it. You said, this is what I'm going to do. I signed up for this. I want to do it. You want to participate in it, right? Like if you decided to have children, you started to plan for it. So you already are getting yourself ready for this process. But then there are some times when you are just voluntold, and that's basically someone kind of telling you that you're going to have to do this, whether you like it or not, and you decided to step up. And one of the reasons why this show came about was because it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. As you can see, I have on the shirt that says power. And there's a lot of power with this movement, but there's a lot of other things that goes on behind the scenes that we don't talk about a lot, and that is the caregivers. A lot of people start to take up this with the person who's going through it, and they rally behind them to help them get through it. And so, in order to do that, we all have to make sure that we are well as we are doing this. And when these different situations happen, such as breast cancer, any other type of illness, a lot of times it's sudden. Sometimes we know some things along the way that it's going to happen, but sometimes there are moments where it is absolutely sudden and it stops you in your tracks and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? There's no preparation involved. You just have to gather yourself up and put the things in place and keep it moving, right? So when that happens, it starts to present some challenges because at some moment you feel honored. I'm so honored that I get a chance to take care of this person, right? Oh, this is a labor of love. That's another phrase that I hear a lot of people say. But in that, the main word to talk and say is labor. That is the main point and the main word. There is some labor involved, which means that there is some work involved. And there's no shame behind that. Caregiving is hard work. If you are a parent and you are taking care of especially small children, and even as your children grow older, you know that there is some labor involved in it because you have to figure out, okay, they're at this stage. How am I supposed to help them navigate this X, Y, and Z? So there is a lot that goes on with it. And before you know it, you may realize that you are not in the place that you thought you were going to be. this situation is not the way that you had imagined it. You thought, oh, I'm going to have two little children. They're going to listen and they're going to obey me all the time. They're going to do what I say. I am going to take on taking care of my husband or my wife or this and that. And they are just going to do all the things and the medicine is going to work and it's just going to be peaceful. And then you feel you have this in your mind of how you think things are going to go, but it just may not turn out like that. And it may not go the way that you imagine because these people that you're taking care of, either one, they don't want it, right? Because children, a lot of times they have their independence and they want to figure things out themselves. And so you're trying to help them navigate, but they're like, okay, I want to do this, right? Or sometimes you have other people who are like, listen, I think I'm fine. I don't need the help. Or I appreciate you helping me, but I want you to do it this way. So they have their own way of how they want you to love on them and take care of them. And you have to be able to be willing to shift and kind of help them in the way that they want to be helped. And if you guys are not on the same page with that, it could be a power struggle and it could be a lot and get to be overwhelming. And that's where it starts to affect you physically, mentally, emotionally. Because if you are now doing all of these things, you already have what's on your plate, right? Have what's on your plate and what you have to do. Plus, now you have these extra demands. And physically, there's some things that you may have to do. You may not be lifting someone into a bed or into a chair, but you may have to go and run some errands and go and to do this and go and do that. That wears on you. Emotionally, you are having to give and give of yourself. Mentally, you're having to think for yourself, think for someone else. And then this can start to lead to burnout. And burnout actually, especially caregiver burnout, has three stages. And the first one is stress. And in that stress stage, you are overwhelmed. And a lot of us have probably been there, especially if you're a new parent. You know that whole stress and overwhelm. These little people want to eat all times of the day. They are up every few hours. You have feel like you're never going to get any rest, never going to get any sleep. So that is stressful because you are overwhelmed, you are tired, and that causes some irritability, right? Sounds familiar? Then the other one, the second stage of burnout is actually burnout. And when you get there, what happens is you start neglecting some of your responsibilities. You neglect what you are supposed to do. You're not doing the things that you're really supposed to do. You start to procrastinate. The other thing is sometimes you may start to withdraw yourself from others. Don't want to participate in things that you used to do or used to enjoy. So now you become withdrawn. And then that now starts to lead to that third stage, which is compassion fatigue. And compassion fatigue starts to show up because you're like, I don't know what else to do. I am tired. I am hopeless. I don't have any more patience. I don't have any more tolerance. And that leads to some angry outbursts. And you become a person that you didn't even expect or see. And I see this a lot because these things start to show up when patients come to see me and I'm like, what is going on? Like I can see the stress all over your body. I can see the stress sometimes in your blood pressure numbers because your blood pressure is super high. I can see the stress in some of these other numbers that I'm looking at when I look at your labs because the stress can lead to like cortisol release and then that eventually can lead to issues with diabetes. So these things are starting to happen to you, you don't even know it. You may not even be realizing it because you were so busy, caught up in doing the things that you have neglected yourself. And then people come in and they start telling me some of the symptoms. I'm not sleeping, I'm not eating, I'm really tired, all this kind of stuff. And then it starts to look like anxiety and depression because irritability, not able to sleep, withdrawn from other people, having racing thoughts, all that kind of stuff starts to play into anxiety and depression. And so burnout can now start to look like that. So before we even get there, how do we actually prevent it? Because there is something that you can do. The first thing that I'm going to talk to you about is help, seeking help. And this one is tough for a lot of people, especially the people who either volunteer to do it or the people who kind of were voluntold and they said, well, you know what, I'm just going to do this because this is the right thing to do, right? For people who do that, a lot of times it's difficult for you to ask for help because you're like, I got it, I'll do it. Nobody can do it like I can do it anyway, so I'll just take care of it. When you're shouldering all of that on yourself, it really can become a lot. And what you can do is there are a lot of people that are around you who probably really want to help out. You have family and friends in the community. And I've seen this happen time and time again, especially when it comes to people in the community or your friends. Sometimes they may not know what to do, but they want to do something. So if someone reaches out and says, "Hey, how can I help?" Find a way to let them help. A lot of people want to bring food, so you can let them know, yeah, if you don't mind, can you bring by some food? Let them come over and be a sitter. There are a lot of people who I've seen this happen a lot where they are retired. Like, I don't have anything to do. I can come over and sit with Miss Jones for maybe an hour or two. That's not a problem. Take them up on their offer because people feel good being able to give to you. So if you are a giver and you feel good when you give, other people feel good when they are able to give as well. So if you say, yeah, sure, can you come over and sit for a while? And they're like, sure, I can do that, because that'll allow you to go and do some of the other things that you need to do. When it comes to family, you can actually start to delegate. Don't feel sorry and feel bad about that, because sometimes when it comes to family, they don't know what to do. They may not know what to do. So sometimes you may have to tell them what to do. If they say no, then you know where you stand and you know where you are. But if you know that this person has a strong suit, or if you know that they have something that they are good at that they can do, don't hesitate to reach out to them and say, hey, can you do X, Y, and Z? They are a good cook. Hey, can you go ahead and cook up some meals for the rest of the week? Can you cook an extra meal or whatever? Those kind of things, because they'll say, oh yeah, sure, that's not a problem. If you know someone can't necessarily be there physically, but financially they can contribute and help, but then that may help you get a paid sitter, someone who can sit there and do something, or be able to pay for meals to take care of that. But start figuring out where your resources are, because we have a lot of them at our disposal and we just don't use them. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with seeking out help and getting other people to help you. There are some other resources that are out there. For instance, there is the Area Agency on Aging. They are out there, the Area Agency on Aging, especially for the older population. They provide all types of services, things like transportation if they need to get to a doctor's appointment, sometimes even taking them to the grocery store, all that kind of stuff. They have a ton of different programs that they have that you want to make sure that you look into. There are the adult daycares. They call them adult daycares, but they're adult activity centers. That's what I like, because they do a lot of that. Sometimes they have a meal. It's a good thing to be able to go and socialize. They do some activities, all that kind of stuff to keep them stimulated, but again, also gives you time to be able to do some of those things that you want to do. You have Meals on Wheels. Look and see if that is something that you may qualify for in your community. Meals on Wheels is a great resource, allows you to be able to get some meals. You can get them for the week, and then it provides you with something that you can have. Respite. Respite care, that basically says respite means to take a rest. That's essentially what it means, is to take a rest. And your insurance may be able to provide some respite care that's already built in there that they will pay. They may say, we'll pay 7 days, we'll pay 14 days, a year. So you can choose where you want to do it. There are some hospice centers in town that have inpatient facilities where your person can go. They're not on hospice, but they can take advantage of respite care. So they can go to that facility and stay for 3, 5, 7 days, and they will stay there overnight. They will provide them with something to eat. They will take care of them. They will look after them. They may be able to go to a nursing home or rehab facility, but look and see if your insurance policy or there's another program out there that will provide respite care. Some of them will even do it in the home. They will stay and bring sitters to your house so many days a week, so that way you can go and do what you need to do. And then do what I did, a good old Google search, and put in Google caregiver resources. Look there and it'll pop it up and it'll tell you wherever you are, a lot of times, what resources are available to you. There are caregiver support groups you can meet together, because sometimes if you sit around and get to talk to people about not only what they're going through, but some of the things that they have used to help make it better, to make it easier, those tips may help you. And then they may tell you about some other programs that you may not even know were out there. And then you now have access to that. So it's a good way to pool your resources, not just a place. Because some people's like, oh, I don't want to go to a support group. I don't want to just sit around and talk to my people all the time about different things. That's fine. You can use it as a way to share resources and talk about, "Oh, okay, so you use that. Oh, that's great. And this is what I do." So that way you can figure out how to make it make sense for you. And this is there's another thing I want to talk to you about. And I know it's a sensitive topic because a lot of people are like, absolutely not. And I understand it, but hear me when I say it. And the other resource that you have is a nursing home or rehab facility. A lot of people are so against it because they're like nursing homes are bad and they treat everyone bad. There are some bad ones out there. There's some bad of everything out there, right? But there's also some good ones, and the good ones are the ones that are not necessarily making the news. So when it comes to the nursing home, open up your mind to it and see, is this the best thing for that person? Because one, it can provide some safety and security. Because if you have a loved one that is like having a lot of falls or something like that, and you can't be with them for an extended period of time, then having them somewhere like at a nursing home or rehab facility will make sure that they have someone looking after them, because you want to make sure you have that safety. Because if you have someone that is not fully able to take care of themselves and you guys are not able to have someone with them 24/7, that can get really dangerous. So you have to think about it from that aspect. And in order to make sure that this place is a safe place for them, is you want to make sure that you are involved. First of all, go and view the different facilities, take a tour, see what it looks like. Do the people look happy? Do they look like they're getting the residents out and active and engaged? So you do that. The other thing is, does you feel like this is going to be a good fit for you guys? Because you also have to understand, at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you are well. And if you have gotten to the point of burnout and caregiver fatigue, then that's not good for your loved one either. So you want to make sure that they are somewhere where they are going to be able to be safe. This is a place where you can go and you can visit, and you can visit often. So then it may allow you that time to go up there every so often, or quite often, to make sure that they are not being mistreated. So that way these people will know, oh no, Miss Susan comes up here every day to check on her mama. And so they know, okay, we even if they did do something suspicious, they are not going to do it to this person because they know that this person has someone who is looking out for them all the time. So please consider opening your mind to that, because I have a lot of people who are just so dead set against it. But I said, we just have to look at it and see, in the right context, would it make sense? And with all of this, you want to make sure that you take care of yourself. So you want to seek help, but you also want to take care of yourself and do some self-care things. And people say, well, that is like selfish. It's not selfish, it's self-full, because you have to make sure that you are full, that you are well, so that your whatever else that you have extra, that it can overflow. Because the thing that happens is your cup a lot of times gets empty when you are approaching burnout and you are out of all the things. And so that leads to that irritability and all of that. And the way to help take care of yourself is, when you have this help in place, that you are accepting of it however it comes, right? So if someone says, I'm going to come over and I'm going to clean up, that's great. Now, they may not put the dishes back exactly where you want it, but that's okay. You don't want to stress out about that. You don't want to micromanage and tell them, okay, well, the spoons go over here and this goes over there and blah, blah, blah. It's okay. As long as they have done the majority of it and have cleaned up, you can come back and work on the details later. But you don't want to spend all of your time trying to micromanage this person because you didn't get a chance to get the rest and the self-care that you wanted. The other thing is, don't feel guilty about it when you do decide to take this rest. If it is they decided to do respite and they went somewhere for a couple of days, when you go and you take your time, don't be concerned about, oh my gosh, well, what are they doing? And are they okay? And all this. And so you spend so much of your time focused on them that you really didn't get a chance to enjoy yourself. So it was like, okay, well, was it a waste of time? So you want to make sure that you are fully able to enjoy that, because if you just get a sitter that can sit for an hour, go out, take a walk, A walk will do wonders for you. Being able to get outside and be away from the situation for a little bit of time will definitely help lift your spirits. It will give you the energy that you need. It just helps you to be able to like get a renewed perspective and renew your spirit. So I hope that a lot of this made sense for you, because I definitely know that anytime you're taking care of someone, whether you volunteer to do it or someone voluntold you to do it, either way, it can present with some challenges, but there is a lot that you can do so that you can help maintain yourself, but also take good care of them. So until next time, I will see you soon and take care.